Welcome back again. Now we will continue with the previous session, that is control statements in Java. In last session we had seen the decision making or selection or branching statement. In that we had seen if else, nested if else if ladder and switch case statement. Now moving on to the second category of control statement is looping or iterative statement. Sometimes there is need to perform a task repeatedly. Whenever we perform a task repeatedly, that we put them into a loop. For example, I am giving you one statement that I want to collect red balloons from the classroom, which is filled with the red and white balloons. I want to take red 10 balloons. What I will do, I will pick up one red balloon. I will pick up next one. I will count it as second. I will pick the next one. I will count it as third, fourth, fifth, likewise till I have collected 10 red balloons. I will stop collecting red balloons when I have 10 balloons in my hand. So for every loop, we should have three things. Initialization of counter means from where we want to start the loop. Terminating condition, it means when we want to stop the execution of code. Third, increment or decrement counter means from how many numbers we want to increment the counter. For example, if I had said I want even number of balloons, so I will either have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 balloons only, not in series of like 3, 5, 7, any random odd number I would not have. I have to collect even number of balloons. So it means if I have balloons, I have to increment the counter by 2 to have even numbers. Now there are three loops in Java. First one is while loop. While loop is known as a entry control loop. Why? Because the block of code is executed only if the result of condition is true. If the result of condition is false, the statement in the loop will not get executed. Syntax is initialization of counter, while condition, body of the loop, increment or decrement of the counter, and the statement after the while loop. So, as I said, three things are necessary in the loop that are written in the while loop. Likewise, initialization of counter, condition, and increment of or decrement of counter. Same flow chart is given. We have a code. If the result of condition is true, the statement will get executed till the condition is true. Once the result of condition is false, it will jump out of the loop. Now we will see one simple example of while loop, that I want to print 1 to 10 number using while loop. So it means when I want to print 1 to 10 number using while loop, it means I have to start from 1. Suppose I have written a program java.io test1 main function. For a loop, I need a counter and I have to start from 1. So I have initialized counter, that is I is equal to 1. Next, while we have to give the condition key up to what number we want to print, up to 10. So while I is less than or equal to 10, what we have to do, that code we will write in the while loop. What I want to do, I want to print the value of I. Once the value of I is printed, once the one number is printed, what we have to do, we have to increment the value of variable by 1. Closing of while loop, main close and class close. Now how this will execute, initially suppose I is equal to 1. So it will check whether I is less than or equal to 10. Yes, then it will enter into the loop. In loop what it shows, print I. So on monitor it will be printed like 1. Okay. Now what is the next statement? I plus plus. So value of I will be done as 2. So in the next time I is equal to 2, again it will jump to the loop. What? Check whether I is less than or equal to 10. It means 2 is less than or equal to 10. Yes, it will jump into the loop again. And what it will do? It will start printing the code in the loop. What is the code in the loop? Print I. So on monitor, after 1, 2 will be printed. Okay, again next line in the loop is I plus plus. So what will be done? I plus plus will be done. Now what will happen? I is equal to 3. Whether 3 is less than or equal to 10, that we will check. Yes, if yes, then it will jump into the loop again. It will print I, so I will be printed as a 3. All this will be printed on the monitor, and again I will be incremented by 1. This will be repeated till I is equal to 10. So this is how the while loop gets executed. Now we will compile this code and we will check whether we are getting the output or not. Java C test1.java, no error. We will run the code Java test1. See, we have received the number from 1 to 10. We have started from 1, we have ended till 10, and the number is incremented by 1. That's why we getting 1 2 3 4. Now suppose if I want to print even numbers between 1 to 10, so we know that the even numbers between 1 to 10 are 2 4 6 8 and 10. So we should start from 2 and we should be ending with 10. But only the change is that every even number is incremented by 2. So 2 plus 2 4, 4 plus 2 6, 6 plus 2 8, 8 plus 2 10. So every time the I has to be incremented by 2, then only we will get even number. Let's see. So we are here with the even number 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay. Now moving on, moving on to the next part, that is do while loop. It is opposite of while loop. Do while is known as a exit control loop. Means here the block of code is executed first and then at the end the condition is checked. Let's see how. The syntax is same as compared to while, only the position of while is changed because it comes to the last. Initialization of counter, do, body of the loop, that is code to be executed, increment or decrement of counter, and at the end terminating condition and further statement of code. Same here. The body of the loop will execute and then condition is checked. If it is true, then it will again jump to the loop, otherwise it will come out of the loop. That's why do while is known as a exit control loop. Now we will see the same example of printing 1 to 10 number but using do while loop. So here our code was like this. I am restoring it to the previous one. So this is the code of printing 1 to 10 using while. Only the change is same. Initialization of counter is same. Just write do code. We have the same thing that we want to print I, increment or decrement, and put condition over here while I is less than or equal to 10 and semicolon. Okay. So suppose if after do while loop I want to print any statement that I can print after the while block or do while block, you can write over here, suppose by. Now see, when I execute this code, I got the output 1 to 10 and finally by. So it has worked same as while loop, only the condition is checked at the end. Now what is the difference between while and do while? Now consider if I am changing the value of counter to 11. So what do you think? Whether we will get output or not? Let's see. I got the output that is 11, and then it has jumped out of the loop and it has printed by. Logically, I should not get any output because the problem definition is that print 1 to 10 number or print number only if it is less than 10. But 11 is not less than or equal to 10, but still we got 11 value printed over here. Why this has happened? Because do while block first execute the body and then at the end it checks the condition. So it means even if the condition is false at first time itself, still we get output at least once in do while loop. That's why do while is quite incorrect loop. Suppose same change I am doing for the while loop, we will check whether we are getting output or not. Now initially I is equal to 11, we want to print the block only if the value of I is less than or equal to 10. Let's see, do we get output in while loop? No, it has not printed any value because even if the condition is false at first time itself, in while loop the body will not execute because it is entry control loop. So before executing statement, the condition is checked. So while is quite correct loop, while is correct loop and do while is quite incorrect loop. Okay. Now moving on to the next loop, that is for loop. As we have seen, for the loop there are three statements are important: initialization of counter, condition, that is terminating condition, third increment or decrement of counter. Now these three lines were occupied separate lines in for while and do while. Now for loop is most popular loop because all the three statements are written on a single line in for brackets only. For initialization of counter, semicolon, terminating condition, semicolon, increment or decrement of counter, and body of the loop and further program. Now we will see the same example of for loop, printing of 1 to 10 number using for loop. So this initialization of counter will be deleted, this condition will be deleted. Now how we can write for loop? For. Now for loop in Java allows the declaration of variable and its initialization in the for loop itself. This is the one feature of for loop in Java. I is equal to 1 semicolon, or you can have variable declared over here. This is initialization of counter, condition I is less than or equal to 10 I plus plus, and what we want to do, we want to just print the I. Now no need to print separate I plus plus or do the increment or decrement of the counter. Closing of for, by, and main and class close. Let's save this code and compile the code. Run the code. 1 to 10 output is displayed over here. Now suppose this for loop, if I want to display the odd numbers between 1 to 10 using for loop, what I will do, initialization of I is equal to 1 because we want to print odd number. Number is starting from 1. Next number is 3, 5, 7, 9. Up to what we want to print? Till I is less than or equal to 10. After printing one number, we should increment I by 2 for even and odd. And no further change is required over here. We will compile the code. Sorry. Okay. We will compile the code, run the code, and we got the 13579, that is odd numbers between 1 to 10 using for loop. Now why this for loop is most popular in Java? It allows multiple declaration of variable and their initialization. In one for loop, I can initialize I is equal to 0, j is equal to 1, and I can give one condition. I can have multiple increment for different variables. I can join multiple expression and condition in the for loop. The declaration and initialization of variable can be done at the same place in the for loop. So these are the features of for loop in Java. These were the loops in Java. Now, the third category of control statement is jumping statement. Jumping statement are used to jump in the program. There are two categories of jumping statement. Conditional jump, it means it depends on the result of condition. And second one is unconditional jump. You might have seen the go to statement in C and C++. Now we will see this jumping statement. First one is break statement. Break is used to come out of the loop or block immediately once it is encountered. Now, how we can write, where we should write it? Obviously, this break will be written in any of the loop or a block where you have code to be executed. And as I said, break is a conditional jump. So before break, there has to be any condition, if statement, and further statements and the body of the code after the block. So what happens when, if particular condition is executed and the result of condition is true, the break will encounter, the statement X will not execute, and the program will start executing the code from statement N. We will see one example of this break statement. Okay, now suppose I have 10 students in my class, and of 10 student class I have a two batches of these 10 student. First batch is of 5 student and second batch is from 6 to 10. Consider. Okay, so now suppose what I will do, I have written a code. I is equal to 1, while I is less than or equal to 10, I will print I. Obviously, I want to print record of all 10 students, but I want to display record of only first batch, that is 1 to 5 or 6 student according to your batch. So I will increment the I by 1 once one record is displayed. But I want to stop when I is equal to 6. So I have written a condition, if I is equal to 6, then jump. But what kind of jump? Just break. So break means what? Come out of the while block and do not continue from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the further iteration, and start executing the statement after the while block. Immediately jump out of the block and start from the statement after the loop or after the block. Let's see what output we get here. We will compile the code and run the code. See what we got: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and by. Why this has happened? Till 5 we got the output. After 5 printing I plus plus I became 6. It will check 6 is equal to 6. Yes. So break statement is encountered. So what break does? It immediately jump out of the loop. But the condition was till 10, so our remaining iterations are pending, like I is equal to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Further 5 iterations are pending, but what break does? It immediately jumps out of the loop and further iterations, remaining iterations will not be executed. So this is the use of break statement. Next one, the next jumping statement, the conditional jumping statement is continue. It is similar to break. Only the difference is that sometimes we need to skip a particular record. Now, syntax is same, only in place of break we can place the continue. Now, Suppose I have a record of 10 student, but roll number 4 has left the college, has taken the LC out. So I want the record from 1 to 3. Skip for the fourth record because there is no active student. He or she has taken the LC. Start from fifth student again and complete the printing till 10. Okay, so we will see this example. It means what? We want to perform the loop execution till 10 times, but we want to skip the loop for one particular record in between. Okay, so that can be done by using continue, because if we write break over here from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all that record will not be printed because break will not execute the further iterations. Okay, so for I is equal to 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus. What we are doing? We once I is equal to 4, we will be printing I. But once I is equal to 4, skip the printing of record for this fourth student and continue again from fifth to 10. Let's see what we get over here for this code. See, we have received output from 0, 1, 2, 3. If you observe over here, there is no 4. And again, the loop has continued from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and by. Because we have not given here less than or equal to 1. Okay. So, how this has executed? I is equal to 1. Yes. 1 is less than or equal to 10. Yes, it will jump into the loop. 1 is equal to 4. No. So it will not jump into if. It will print I. Okay. Then I will be incremented. 2. 2 is less than or equal to 10. This will be repeated. Once I is equal to 4. 4 is equal to 4. Yes. Then it will encounter continue. So continue will skip printing of this I for fourth record, and again it will come to the execution of loop from I is equal to 5. So continue skips the execution for current iteration only, and it again starts execution of code from the remaining iterations of the loop. So this is the continue statement in Java. Next, unconditional jump. Break and continue are conditional jump. Means to execute that break or continue, we need to write a condition first. But sometimes we don't want to check any condition. We just want the program to jump to particular label that we had done in C or C++ using go to statements. So instead of go to in Java, we have a labeled break and continue statement that will allow us to jump randomly anywhere in the program but to the particular labels. In break, what is happening? The break has to jump immediately out of the loop and start from the statement which is out of the loop. In continue, what it has to do, it has to start from the next iteration immediately. But in front of break and continue, we can give the label so that it will jump to that particular label. For example, there are two types of jump: forward jump and backward jump. Suppose there is a condition, we can give the break label and further statements, and here is your label. So if the result of this condition is true, this break will not cause to jump over here, it will jump to label. So this statement will be skipped, and after break it will jump to label. As it is ahead of the break statement, that's why this is known as a forward jump. Opposite to that, we have a backward jump. Suppose I have a statement, here I am checking the condition and I am putting the break and label. So once this statement will execute sequentially. Once the condition is executed or statement is executed, if I write break and label, it will jump to the label which is backward direction, and again it will start executing the code. Again it will come over here label, and again it will jump to the previous part. So in backward jump, what happens, it goes into the infinite loop. So this is the labeled break and continue statement in Java. So we have one example for seeing the code of this labeled break statement in Java. We are just going to print whether we are in the inside of the block or outside of the block. We will display the statement over here. Suppose I have a variable I is equal to 10. Here I have given created one label O. Here is again one label in. And here I am printing that inner block is ending over here. I am doing some execution of code and I am writing the statements, and if I am mentioning that once it is executed, once the break statement is encountered, jump to label O. So it will jump over here, again it will execute the statements in a sequence, and it will execute the statements whichever is applicable according to label. Let's see what output we get for this labeled break statement. Here it is showing inner block ends. Okay, as these statements are getting executed in sequentially, O, these are the label, it is giving statement like inner block ends, statement is executed, I is incremented because I was 10, now it has become 11. So 11 is not equal to 0, as the result of this condition is not satisfying. 11 is not equal to 0, it is satisfying the condition, so it is jumping to O. It will jump to O and it will execute the further statements. This is how the label break and continue statements are used. So we have seen the control statements in Java. Hope you have liked it. See you in the next session. Thank you.